Hello everyone, Jessica here, and today I will be sharing with you and demonstrating the wonderful Snickerdoodle recipe that I have discovered, including the secret ingredient. So first let's just go over, well, how about a couple rules. First, of course, whenever you're cooking you should wash your hands. I just washed mine. If you got long hair, you probably want to pull it back so you don't get it in the food, because no one wants hair in their cookies or their food. And now let's go over the ingredients. So we need 1 cup of butter, which equals 2 sticks, softened. Notice how they look a little squishy? It's because if these have been sitting out for a while, that means they softened. And we need 1.5 cups of sugar. So we've got our sugar. And 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We've got our baking soda. I've got pre-measured there. And we need 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. So I've got that there. That's what that looks like, by the way. And we need 3/4 teaspoons salt. Oops. So we've got this here, salt. And we need 2 eggs. I've already pre-cracked mine and put them aside in a container. This is a nice thing to do so that way you don't get eggshells in your cookie batter. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Here is my vanilla. That's the container if you're curious. And we need 3 cups of flour. My flour is in a Ziploc bag, but standard all-purpose flour. And I've pre-measured that. And we need 1/4 or 1/4 cup of sugar. And you're probably wondering, wait a minute, didn't we already measure sugar? I've got my sugar over here. This sugar is not going to go in the batter. This sugar is going to be the coating on your cookies. So I have set aside this smaller container of sugar. And we also have 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Alright, and then that needs to mix on a medium to high speed. It says for maybe about 30 seconds.
With the sugar?
It just says the butter.
Okay.
Let's see. It's always good to double check your ingredients. And it's just the butter. Alright, so we did our butter. Now we have to add the 1.5 cups of sugar. Here's our sugar. And we now have to do our baking soda. So here is our baking soda. And next we have to do our cream of tartar. Here is our cream of tartar. And next the salt. And goes. Yeah. Get our paper towel so we don't have to keep going to the sink to wash our fingers. Alright, so that was that step. Alright, so now we just got to mix this together. Can you pause it? Alright, and next we have to start mixing in the flour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in a little bit of the flour at a time. Whoops, shoot. Sometimes you make a mess when you're cooking or baking, so you're not going to want your favorite outfit on either, or wear an apron.
Lock the mixer down, lever on the right. Yep, pull it.
Okay. Yeah, we did our flour. And so the next step is, it says you have to cover and chill. So,
Actually, you should add the secret ingredient.
oh, you're right. We need to add our secret ingredient. Butterscotch. I also strongly recommend having a helper or a partner to help you in baking and cooking. Because that way you will be less likely to make mistakes. Especially if, like me, you are relatively new to some of this stuff. And it's fun.
Unlock it, lift it up, and scrape it.
Okay, so we're gonna lift this up. And scrape this off.
That's it for now, and then you put it in the fridge.
Yep, so, yep. What I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to cover this with some plastic. And then we're going to put it in the fridge. Now, the instructions say for approximately 60 minutes. That's an hour. I've done this before, and I don't believe we had it in an hour. I'd say we had it closer to like a half an hour. Cookies were still yummy. So sometimes my mom always says that when you are following a recipe for the first time, you should always follow all the directions exactly as they say. And then when you do it a second time, you can experiment and you can kind of tweak things. Maybe you think that, you know, some they were too burnt when you cooked them to the full time it's in the directions. So you kind of tweak things with time. So I've learned with previous experience of this that we probably don't need to chill it for an hour, but that's going to be up to you. But they do need to chill the dough for a little bit. So we'll chill this for a little bit and then we will move on to the next steps. Alright, so we have chilled our dough for some time. I've preheated the oven to 375 degrees. It just beeped. So it's time to get those cookies ready to bake. First of all, we're going to take some parchment paper and put it over our tray. This will keep the cookies from making that tray all gooey. So we're just going to, get it over there. And I'm taking just some office binder clips. Clip the paper to the tray, keep it in place. Alright, so that is the tray for our cookies to go on. Next, we have to get our cinnamon sugar mixture ready. So we are going to mix the quarter cup of sugar with the cinnamon. And a reminder, that was a 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. So we've got our cinnamon and our sugar. I'm just going to mix those together. Okay. And then this is our dough. And I like to use an ice cream scoop to scoop out balls of dough to make into cookies. So we've got ourselves a ball here. Shape it into a ball. And then this is the mixture here. And then you just kind of roll it a little bit in the cinnamon sugar mixture. And you put it on the tray. And you just do another one. Make sure that your cookies are spaced apart because when they bake, they will expand, and the last thing you want your cookies to do is sort of like squish into each other. Alright, and we'll do one more, so we'll have a total of 6 cookies on our tray. So the recipe says that the cookies should bake 10 to 12 minutes at 375 degrees. Like I said, my oven is already preheated. Oops. Alright, so I am going to set my timer for 10 minutes. And then if they, when I check on them, if they aren't looking like they're cooked, maybe they're still kind of shimmery and doughy looking, they're just not quite brown enough, then we'll give it like a couple more minutes. But I always think it's better to kind of err on the smaller time amount they give than the larger time amount. Because like if they're not done yet, you can just cook them for a little longer, but if they're burnt, they're burnt. Alright, so I will see you again when our cookies are ready. Okay, so our cookies are about halfway through their baking, so we are going to check on them, see how they're coming along, and then we're going to rotate them so that they will bake more evenly. So open up our oven. Carefully take that, and then we're just going to turn it around. Looks like they come along pretty good. Back in the oven they go. And we shut the oven door. And now we just wait some more. Alright, so just checked on the cookies. They're starting to look a nice kind of golden brown color. And more importantly, they don't look shiny. And when you put your finger on them, they're not gooey anymore. So we're going to open up our oven. Take our cookies out. And then we're going to set them here. And then they got to cool for a few minutes. And we're all done. We have our Snickerdoodles plus secret ingredient. Thanks for watching.